Hello and welcome to this introductory video in promises in JavaScript. I'm your host Fardeen Khan. Now, before diving into what promises are, let us talk about two concepts, synchronous and asynchronous methods of execution from which the concept of promises is derived. Now think of this as a system which has to execute all these tasks. In a synchronous fashion, everything will be executed in a sequence. So first task 1, then task 2 and then task 3. For some reason, if task 1 is waiting for some input, then the system will go into an idle state. But in that state, it cannot move on to task 2 because it will have to first execute task 1. This severely limits the computational power of the system and also reduces the efficiency. So to come to rescue, we have the asynchronous model of execution. The same task will be executed but in a different fashion. First of all, whenever the task that has been executed is waiting for some input and the system goes into the idle state, it will immediately jump to some other task that is waiting to be processed. So it will not go into idle state and it will not lead to any wastage of the computational power, as well as the efficiency will increase. The concept of promises revolves around the concept of asynchronous programming and not on the synchronous programming. So moving on to promise. A promise is an assurance that something will be done in the future. In context of JavaScript, it means to return a result. So it will actually handle the execution of an asynchronous operation, and then the result will be generated in either of these three states. If the result is resolved, that means the asynchronous operation has completed successfully and we are happy to move on to the next task. If it is rejected, then there is some error and we need to handle it. If the state is pending, that is the asynchronous operation is still waiting to be completed and we need to wait for these two stages. That is, the stage is pending only when either resolved or not rejected state have been occurred. Now moving on to a coding example, this is a traditional example of an event callback system. Here asynchronous function has been executed which creates an audio file from some audio settings, and it will take two functions as arguments. First is a success callback and then a failure callback. Whenever the audio file is created successfully, it will call this function. If not, then this function will be called. This is an event callback system. On the other hand, we have the promise system, in which we will make the create audio file async function return a promise object. That promise object will then execute either the success callback or the failure callback. So this is how we will execute a promise. And this is all for this video. Thank you for watching.